pasa, mi gente? How you doing? Welcome back to another episode of Financially Alpha. We're here with my friend Karen, and Karen is a woman in business, and we're going to talk about her experience and her journey and her expertise in that field. You said you started in 2007?
2007.
So I think that's a pretty big run.
And before that I was in retail, so obviously that's a lot of customer service and dealing with people and psychology.
Yeah.
I say there's a lot of psychology.
A lot of people think that sales is like super, a lot of people say that it's really, a lot of people think that sales is really hard, but I think it's pretty natural because you need to approach it in a kind of a human level, like just talk to like friends.
You definitely have got to be able to talk to people and put yourself in their shoes. I think people can tell when you're kind of BSing them a little bit, or you're not listening.
Yeah.
But you put yourself in their shoes, and then you're able to better help them.
Yeah, and a lot of people think that when I talk to them, I like to listen to sales trainings, or I like to go to seminars, and like I like those kind of things. And people are like, sales, I could never do that. That's more of a. But I think life is about sales because when you're selling yourself, either you're selling to a date, you're selling to a new salary. When you go get a mortgage or a money from the bank, a loan, you gotta sell yourself.
Absolutely.
Worthy.
Absolutely. Having an extensive background in retail management, it's really not so much what they know about the job. It's how adaptable they are and how engaging they are, and everything can be learned on the job, really.
Yeah.
And that's the way I learned. I just went to a fashion merchandising school for 10 months. And then I was out working, so it was really all on the job.
Yeah.
But if you can present yourself well in a job interview, that's 3/4 of the battle right there.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. And when you started in that industry, how was the field with women? Was there a lot of...
in retail, it was predominantly women.
Yeah.
In upper management, it was probably more men.
Yeah.
Like out in the stores, the company I worked for, actually the first big company I worked for, there were 30 female store managers and no male store managers.
Yeah.
But upper management from CEO on down was all male.
Yeah. Even at Lincoln Square, I think 50%, more than 50% of the managers are female.
Yeah.
I think
That's it's really changed a lot. I think. Well, there's been a lot of forces that have made that change, but I find also in financial services, I think it's still probably a higher majority of males.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of females, putting their foot in the water and learning about it. And there's some very successful business owners of their own broker firms that are females.
Yeah.
So,
what would you say that you would be, what advice would you give to those women out there that are thinking about changing careers? What would
to get into financial services?
Or change careers, yeah.
Oh, I think, well, first of all, you've got to do your research and make sure it's something that's appealing to you, that you would enjoy. And
so you're a big believer of following your passion or following your money?
Well, I've always more followed my passion, and I was always grateful for any sort of increase or anything that I might get. But if you don't love what you do, then you know what? It's tough to wake up in the morning and go back to the same thing.
Yeah.
And I was there once, and I knew that I had to make a change because it wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
It was, you'd pull up into the parking lot and you just get this sick feeling in your stomach.
Yeah.
And I made a change.
Yeah.
So that's, you gotta follow your passion. The rest of it will come. If you're really successful, the money, the income and everything should come along with it
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah, very, very true. And so we're gonna shift a little bit more, and I want to talk to you about some definitions, some money myths that are out there. Like I don't know if you heard that saying growing up. My mother used to tell me, money doesn't grow on trees.
Oh yeah, I heard that a lot.
So what
Yeah.
do you think about that?
Well,
Is it true? Is it
I
kind of
think
true?
the way the parents would put it to us was hopefully to educate us that you don't spend more than you make or you can afford to spend. So, you know, there's people who make a lot of money and spend it all.
Yeah.
There's people who may not make as much and spend more than they make.
Yeah.
And there's people who are able to save and still have a nice lifestyle. But, you know, money doesn't grow on trees. It has to be earned and it has to be nurtured.
Yeah.
You know, my husband is very passionate about you don't spend what you can't afford.
Yeah.
And you have to really think about it before you make a purchase. And I read a lot of blogs and things even now that say before you make a large purchase, or, you know, large is all relative. What's large to you may not be large to you
Yeah.
and vice versa. But, you know, take another day or a week or so and think about it, because you always have to pay yourself first. You've got to make sure that you're financially sound.
I've heard that one before, pay yourself first,
Mhm.
like, but I still can't wrap my head around it. What
I'll
do you
wrap your
mean?
head around it. Yeah. It's a matter of having a 401k plan, or if your company doesn't offer some sort of retirement plan, have a system where you are contributing every pay period to an IRA. There's a lot of different calculators that you can use to see what you'll need in retirement, how much you should be saving to reach your financial goals.
Yeah.
And if your company does have a 401k and they offer a match, even better, because they're going to match X amount up to X amount of what you contribute.
Yeah.
So it's got to start right away. You know, 401ks didn't start until I think the mid-70s or so.
Also, it's a new product.
It's relatively new. They would have pensions or other types.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different types of retirement
Are there still
plans.
pensions around? Or-
Not as much as they used to be. A lot of pensions just kind of, well, I think they kind of blew up. I think they just didn't really serve the purpose in later times.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. But, so you have to pay yourself first. You've got to contribute until it hurts. You know, because you want to know by the time, you know, let's say you're 25 years old or 30, you want to know that you're saving enough so that by the time you're, you know, God, now it's probably going to be 70. It's going to be the retirement age. So,
Well,
you want
70 with today's modern medicine, a lot of 70-year-olds look good.
right. But, you know, now most people retire around 65 or so, and
Yeah.
they may not have saved nearly what they're going to need
Yeah.
to live the rest of their life. And there's a lot of tables, you know, actuarial tables and things like that you can have research done. But people are definitely living long, and you've got to pay yourself
Yeah.
every pay period.
Yeah.
So I hope that answered
Yeah.
the question.
Yeah, it's
Kind of a long, drawn out.
No, but it's good because that gives us more context of that pay yourself first. Because I've always heard it, and it always sounded funny to me, like yourself first, like it doesn't make sense.
You know, I can tell you, and you know, whether you use this or not, I have attended a lot of 401k enrollment meetings for my company along with the advisor, and we'll do education meetings at least once a year, if not more. And One response you hear is, I can't afford to contribute to my 401k. And my response is, you can't afford not to.
Yeah.
A lot of people may only contribute 2, 4, 6%. That will never get you to retirement. They just don't see the big picture and what starting as young as you can will do for your future.
Yeah.
So it's really important.
So another myth that I've heard about money is that money won't make you happy. No, we kind of already talked about that several times.
Well, money I think can always make you happy, but it's like, it's not everything. And it's like, again, money, you know, if you don't have the money to spend on those things to make you happy, in the long run, you're never going to be happy because you're going to be in debt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, if you're in that 1%, unless you have sickness and something that's really going to take your life soon, you're probably reasonably happy. But how many of us, how many people are in that category?
Yeah.
So again, you gotta have money to do the things that you want to do, but you still gotta save.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always make you happy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of extenuating circumstances around that.
Yeah.
So
another thing that I've heard is that money will change you. Do you think money changes people?
It's kind of like the other thing about making you happy. I don't know that it really changes people.
Yeah.
I guess if I won a huge lottery, of course it's gonna change people. But I guess I'd like to know if having money would change me. It's like, do we ever feel that we're really, that comfortable?
Yeah.
I mean, if people win the lottery or something, have a big inheritance or something.
Yeah. Why do you think people lose when they get a big chunk of money like that? Like either through lottery, through a good record label like those artists, or athletes when they make big money through contracts. Why do you think like most of them go broke in a few years?
They don't have a handle on what they're spending, or they're not listening to their financial person, or it just all came so fast and at once that again it just kind of blew up.
Yeah.
And that's, you gotta really have people too that you can trust manage your money. And I think a lot of times you've kind of got two ends of the spectrum as far as the client. There's a lot of clients who completely trust their financial advisor, but whatever you say.
Yeah.
They're not involved in any of it. They don't understand differences between types of accounts and taxes. Taxes is a big one.
Yeah. I've heard there's only two things for sure in life: death and taxes.
Exactly. And knowing, where your funds are at and how taxes affect them is really critical. And then you've got the people who, it's almost like day traders, or they're so serious that they want their hands on every aspect of managing their money. But, for those people who inherit or at some point get a lot of money, it's really tough. It's hard on them. They have to really know what to do with it.
And then there's the other spectrum where they take a really long time to accumulate $1 million, but by the end of their life, when they reach that $1 million, they're like very penny pinchers because they work so hard. So So they kind of instilled that mentality with like, oh, I need to save every little bit, and I can't spend this because then I can't take this vacation because that's gonna help me back a few more years. So they're very, and then they kind of pass that on to their kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to not be able, find the balance, and you still gotta be able to enjoy your life.
Yeah.
And that's where, instead of taking a trip to Europe or whatever, for 7 to 10 days, maybe a little jaunt down to Florida for 5 or 6 days would be smarter. It's just really knowing when you can afford it and when you can't, and saving for it,
Yeah.
Save for a vacation, but you gotta enjoy life too.
Yeah,
so that's it.
Because life is, like you were talking about, time flies.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe like October 1st is just a couple days away.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
crazy.
I remember when we were during the pandemic, like, oh, a year is gonna go by. And look at it now.
It's like a blur. I hardly even remember what, it was just crazy. I mean, I remember not leaving the house just because I didn't want to wear masks.
Yeah.
But, I did when I left. I just hope that's all over.
Yeah. I was listening to a article that said how to make time stop. And so, because I'm obsessed with time, like I'm afraid of time, so I want to slow it down. There's this song called "Time in a Bottle" by Jim Croce.
Jim Croce,
Yeah, and
If
so
I could say time in a bottle.
if I could, I love that song. When I heard it
So
for the
good.
first time, I've listened to it for like hours, and I
so
loved
good.
it. And so I started doing research on how to make time slow by. And so let me tell you the secret. You can't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I
But
mean,
you can trick your brain into thinking that it's slowing down because your brain wants to, your brain is lazy. So your brain wants to, when you're driving from work to your house, like the first time your brain starts like, okay, I need to memorize this. So it's taking a lot of snap pictures like, dunt, 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 dunt. And then when it's back, after you've been doing that for many years because you're at your job, your brain stops, like it stops taking pictures, so it'll just use the same memory. So sometimes I'm driving from my work to my house and I'm like, oh geez, how did I get here?
right, so fast. Yeah, it's crazy.
Because,
and let me tell you a secret. That saying, the older you get, the faster the time goes. It's very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Wow.
Yeah, I won't tell you my age, but I think I could be your mother. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and so what they recommended is doing something new every day because it'll make your brain go into hibernation mode where like it'll just slow down and just reuse the same thing. It'll make it work harder, so memorize harder. So and they said as simple as like if you put your pants with your right foot, do with your left foot, and then keep changing it up. If you go take the right when you're walking in the hallway, take the other side, even if it's a little longer. And they'll make you try new things. That's why in school, when you were growing up, first grade was the first time you saw your teacher, your new friend. Second grade, the same thing. Third grade, every year was different. So that's why school, when you were younger, felt like forever. Now, I was talking to my friend Mark, and I told him, bro, remember when 4 years? We've been started a little business 4 years ago, and remember when he was like, has it been that long? And I'm like, yeah. You remember back in high school, back in school, elementary school, 4 years felt like an eternity.
It seems like so long ago. You really, that's all very true. You gotta keep the brain going. My mom was an accountant for her career.
And they didn't have computers back in the day.
Oh, goodness, no. For a while, the old-fashioned adding machine. And she continued up until actually a couple of years before she passed away. she was always doing something. She loved crossword puzzles. She played the organ at church. She got a little part-time job every other weekend as a receptionist at a retirement home where she ended up, living. Just everything to keep the brain going.
Yeah.
And she passed away at 91.
Wow.
And I really think she was beginning to have some cognitive issues. But, I know people that have had it in their 60s.
Yeah.
And I think that really kept her scribe for as long as thank God.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I wish I could get to 91. That's a big,
Yeah.
well-lived life. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Alright, well that's everything guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it and hopefully you got some value and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank
Lessons
you.
from Indy.
Bye-bye.